but is feeling better. And the WNBA has officially announced that in agreement with the Players Union, it plans to have a 22-game regular season starting in late July. That means the Las Vegas Aces are back in action as well once everything is solidified. If the deal goes through, the games will be played in Florida, including the postseason in October. Update brought to you by Interstate Batteries. When it comes to dependability in car batteries, no one beats Interstate Batteries.
You're listening to Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas.
It's busy Monday with Cofield and Company. Rob Manfred, saying in the last couple hours that, headline here, Rob Manfred walks back previous comments, quote, not confident there will be a 2020 MLB season. We might talk about this at 4 o'clock. It's in Choose Your Fate at 4. Or we might not, because it violates the ban that we put on baseball negotiations and labor talk. We're not doing it anymore.
Baseball's banned from Cofield and Company.
Hey,
unless people vote for it.
Because I don't want to hear about it. The listeners don't want to hear about it. It's either going to get done or not. None of this back and forth, this 114 game to 50 to 82 to 76 all this back and forth stuff is nonsense. So there you go. Rob Manfred, not confident he can get his sport back on the field. You suck. The NBA has some things they're going to have to deal with. Now, the players participated in a call. About 100 players were on the call. And one of the things that came out of it was basically described as Kyrie Irving is not cool with the bubble and does not want to come back. And that just turned into a bash fest of Kyrie Irving because he's an easy target. One, he's African-American, which is always the problem with the NBA. I think with many critics, they're quick to jump on the National Basketball Association. But two, he's a guy who has been a little flighty with thoughts and beliefs at times. I'm not saying everything he says is irrelevant. He's also a guy who hasn't played a whole lot consistently. Yeah. So then people are like, well, why does he have any input in this? So he got lambasted Friday and Saturday. What'd you make of what he was talking about?
Well, I want to think that his heart is in the right place and that he's saying the things that he believes in and really is fighting for. I'm just skeptical. And I know other players have been pointing out the exact same thing that I thought immediately when I heard it. And I kind of feel bad that I thought it, but I did. It's that his first concern, after the first call was, can I still go? Do I still get to go and hang out there and be a part of it? And, can we, use it even as marketing opportunities, using sponsors and that sort of thing. How is this going to be approached? How is it going to be addressed? And it seems like they told him basically, yeah, you're hurt. There's no reason to be there. Stay home. And so he came up with we shouldn't be playing because it'll take away attention from the cause. You're like, wait, what? Where did that come from? Now, I kind of support that idea, but at the same time, like, why did you come to this conclusion? And it does seem like
what's the cause? You didn't really. What's the cause?
Well, the national push right now, the movement that is going on in terms of Black Lives Matter and all the protests that are on the streets, and they don't want to get like what he's saying is, hey, if we come back, all the attention is now on basketball. They're talking about sports. They're going to be watching us, and this. I don't know how many people saw Dave Chappelle the other day, but one of the things he was saying is, hey, I don't need to come out and talk. The streets are talking right now. They're telling you how they feel. And I think Chris Paul is kind of taking it to the next level of, if we start playing, are we taking the attention away from all the focus right now that is on the good that is being done in terms of making progress as a society? That's something to talk about. And I think it is something to talk about. I just don't know where Kyrie's intentions are because a guy like Dwight Howard is saying the same thing. And I kind of am feeling like maybe his is more even genuine.
Yeah, Michelle Roberts, the head of the Players Association, said it's not a question of play or not play. Okay. So that's comforting.
Yeah.
It's a question of, does playing again harm a movement that we absolutely unequivocally embrace? And then whether our play can help the cause.
Right. And I think that is part of the conversation as well.
Let me get the quote correct. Whether our play can, in fact, highlight, encourage, and enhance this movement. That's what we're talking about. They're not fighting about it. And this is the most important part. They're talking about it.
Right.
Everything, just because there's sides in a discussion doesn't mean it's a fight. Doesn't mean it's a all or nothing battle. It's, hey, what's the best way we can do this? Well, do both things. How do we execute both goals? And players feel it's important to be part of the movement, be a voice. How do we do both of them?
So what will we be able to do as players? Like, what is going to be allowed? How much can we say? How much, by the way, this goes back to it. And again, I know that people don't understand the positive role that media plays. They just like to vilify. I think part of the players' discussion is, hey, how much will we be able to be in the media and talking about the issues that we care about? Are we going to have access to that platform while we're here? And are we going to be able to do it during games? Like, all those things are being addressed. I just feel like Kyrie started pushing this after he was told he's not going, which kind of takes away a little bit from that. And maybe he's saying, hey, if I'm not there, then, you know, how could I help out with the movement while I'm not there? Well, you can do it in your own way because you're not there. Like, there's a lot that goes into it. I will say, it seems like, and, you know, we know that there's a lot of conversation about this week. The fact that LeBron wasn't on the call, probably, like, the amount of influence he carries was probably a mistake on somebody's part. I don't know if he wasn't invited or wasn't told about it or just didn't want to go on it. I don't know how he wasn't, but he seems to have the most powerful voice in the league right now, as he probably should. That's something he should probably be a part of.
WNBA is going to be coming back.
Oh, yeah.
We are not a candidate to be one of the hubs. I'm pretty sure we put in for it, right?
Started out, yeah.
We put in for, like, pretty much every sport.
Sure.
I'm talking Vegas.
The Steve Cofield plan of let's get them all.
Not Lotus Broadcasting.
Let's get them all.
WNBA will have a reduced season, 22-game schedule, would begin in late July without fans in attendance. Again in Florida. You mother. This time not Orlando. Looks like they're trying to finalize a partnership with the IMG Academy. All the games would be played at the facility in Bradenton, which is south of one of your favorite towns, Tampa.
Tampa is way better than Jacksonville.
Tampa and St. Pete.
That's for sure. We talked about the hub city potentially falling apart in Vegas because of numbers. How are people going to Florida?
Not sure.
It's baffling.
I'm not sure. I think that's TBD, and that we were talking about it to open a show. It looks like we're going to be at least one of the American hubs, and maybe there'll be two American hubs, maybe there'll be a Canadian hub for the NHL. The NHL is going to watch what happens here over the next 7 or 10 days, and maybe that changes their decision. And I guess the same thing could happen in Florida. None of these leagues are starting up until late July.
Right.
So this one would start up the date would be July 24th. The WNBA commish says there's a lot to do between now and the tip of the season. Now that we've selected IMG Academy, the 24th of July is the date that will stick, or we hope it will stick. 12 teams all housed at IMG, and they will hold their training camps there. So we'll see if the players in the WNBA have anything to say.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we can't get our message out. We don't want to just come back and play basketball. This is important to us as well. And as you said, the safety, I think now that locations have been chosen, I would assume most players are kind of examining what's going on, you know, whether it's NHL players in the Eastern Conference, if they're coming here to Vegas, I'm sure they're going to keep an eye on Vegas. I'm sure their families will want to know what's going on in Southern Nevada. And just like, you know, the NBA and WNBA, I'm sure are combing through Florida news, you would think, to see what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm not saying all of them are doing it. I would think some of them are, though.
Yeah, I think for sure. And they're monitoring and checking it out. And the way it's trending, you would think in a month and a half from now, it's probably not going to be in a very good spot. I don't know. I think there's a lot of questions. And I mean, this just hit me as we're talking about this. How many leagues are going to be watching just in case what happens with the UFC next month? I mean, they found a completely isolated spot in the Middle East where they're just flying in and they're like, we have an island that has a hotel, that has dining facilities, that has arenas, and we're good to go. And we're going to make this happen. If the WNBA can't go to Florida, it would be like, maybe we go there. Maybe we go to quote unquote Fight Island.
Or can they find places in the United States that are much more isolated?
They could. I mean, it's possible.
As long as they have facilities, but just something super, super, super small with. I mean, the NBA there's just way too much. It's 22 freaking teams. I mean, you're talking thousands of people
Like,
being there. The WNBA could do something like that. I mean, there's only 12 teams. I'm sure there's only so many team personnel that'll be allowed in.
yeah.
But I don't, but to your point, I don't see international travel being part of the mix. I don't see Abu Dhabi.
I mean, I think it makes more sense from a safety perspective. If you can get it, like the UFC is getting in, so I imagine other people can get in. But the way they're doing it, like, because one of the things we talked about here, sure, you have a bubble, but the hotel employees are going home, the restaurant employees are going home. How are you really isolating this?
Yeah, the NHL is looks like going to use at least two hotel locations that are not, they're close because it's on the strip, but they're not right next to each other.
Yeah. And so, and again, every night the employees are going home. From what I understand, in Abu Dhabi, like the employees are just there the whole time, just like the fighters are, just like everyone else. Yeah, because it's an island that they're just going to be on.
Different rules
That's
in that part of the world.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Right.
Is that the government there is like, no, if you're working there, you're staying there for the whole month.
The government there can do that.
Of course.
We've seen the government here can do nothing. And I don't mean they're ineffective, but we cannot be preached to about rules.
Right, but that's
You've seen how much this is blown up in like 3 months where it's just people are on all sides of just a basic issue like masks.
Yeah. But that's the point I'm making.
Right.
Is that you could go to a place where you're like, yeah, this is how it's going to be. We need to have the WNBA tournament here. So you guys are going to be here and you're going to be isolated on this island just like the athletes are.
So for sports, the end game could be that totalitarianism is the only way to go.
Yes.
We have to go somewhere like that.
We're advocating for that now. Yes.
I don't know if we're advocating for it.
For sports, for the good of sports.
Yeah, we'll get to your UFC event a little later on around 4:45 with John Von Tobel. And up next, we got a bunch of college football stories, including a developing blow-up between Mike Gundy, Oklahoma State coach, and his best player.
The home of the Raiders fan.
Hang out, tailgate, eat great food, drink great beer.
ESPN 100.